Welcome back to the program. Here's how the Oilers stack up against the rest of the NHL at the break. Third in the NHL in points, strong on goals, strong on the power play, save percentage, middle of the road. Could use some work on the penalty kill. Edmonton comes out of the break on a 5-game roadie. It'll be Philly Saturday, Washington Sunday, Tampa, Florida, and Carolina will follow. Jason Strudwick hosts a very popular podcast, Got Your Back, with our friend Ryan Rashog, all about the Oilers. He is beginning a new podcast, Struddy's World. That begins on Wednesday. It's going to be incredible. Struddy, first of all, tell us about Struddy's World. What's that all about?
I'm really excited. No, I've done my own show before, and I miss doing it. Right, I love working with Shogger, but I've got Mitch to kind of do my own. So it'll be we're going to start Wednesdays at lunchtime and kind of fill that lunchtime hour with Oilers talk, and then we'll have NHL talk, and then some other sports, maybe football and baseball, those types of things. But I'm really looking forward to it. Just driving on my own bus and kind of having that need to really come up with stuff and not just show up and turn the lights on.
Sounds good. I look forward to that. Oilers first in the Pacific. Overall, compared to the team that went to Game 7 of the Cup final last year, Jason, how do you see this year's team? How does it stack up against last year's team?
Well, this team is much more mature. And I know it's only 1 year, but the things they went through last year, you think about this terrible start they had, and then the coaching change, and then Chris Knobloch coming in here when the house is literally burning, just walks in and calms everybody down. And they found their groove to the tune of losing in the Game 7 of the Stanley Cup final. That's tough. I think that's really, really hard. And they had a tough summer. Then they come back and another slow start, but they started digging out of it and they found their way, and they look very mature, very, very mature. They added a few pieces that are trying to find their way into the lineup or how they fit in. But this team looks like a team that knows how to win. I don't think they're being as physical as they can be. I think they understand that it's a long season, and then those other 4 rounds can really take it out of you. So I think there's a little bit of a governor on maybe some of the way they're playing physically, but this team knows how to win, and they're playing like that right now.
Leon Draisaitl having an incredible season, as you know, Jason. He's the front runner for the Hart Trophy, according to our friends at FanDuel. First player to hit 40 goals this season. He's already won a Hart Trophy before, but is this right now what you're witnessing, Jason, his best season in the NHL?
By far his best season. By far might be a bit of an overstatement, but I believe on 200 feet of the ice, he is doing everything. He is all over the place. And I think he was one of the people that really kind of got himself going early in the year when the team was struggling. And he kind of dragged this team into say, hey guys, okay, it's time to get going. Playing both ends of the ice, scoring goals. His line mates have been, Paul Colson, a guy that was traded for a 4th rounder from Vancouver. And he works well with him because Paul Colson works hard and gets the puck back to him, and he's able to make plays. He's had Arvidsson, he's had Skinner, he's had so many different line mates. But he's really using them well. And I don't think he really cares. He's like, give me anyone who works hard and we're going to have a productive night. And I'm going to help this team win. That's his attitude, and everyone on this team is all about winning the Stanley Cup. They don't care about the awards, and I think it really shows in the way that he's playing across the entire ice.
Let's talk about Stuart Skinner. The Stuart Skinner question. He was pulled in his last start before the Four Nations break, a game against the Avalanche. That's who the Oilers would face today, Struddy, if the season ended today in the first round. It's such a tough one, isn't it? He's played so well for Edmonton at times. He's struggled at times. And then you see comments like John Gibson may potentially be not only available, but willing to come to Edmonton if he were the number 1. Is it worth it for Stan Bowman to make that kind of upgrade, in your opinion, or should they be riding the whole way with Skinner?
Skinner's my guy. I truly believe that. He's matured so much over the last number of years. Keep in mind, he wasn't even supposed to be the starting goalie right now. That was supposed to be former Toronto Maple Leaf Jack Campbell. And here he is. He had to come in because, Campbell's kind of struggled. And he's taken this rollover. Look around the NHL. Show me a goalie that's played this many playoff series over the last 3 years. It'd be hard to find. Maybe a Bobrovsky, your boy Bobrovsky from Florida. But other than that, there aren't many. So this guy has experienced it all. He had some tough times in the playoffs last year. Goalies do have that happen. I think he's matured. I think he understands what it takes and how to manage that over the course of a playoff run. Then don't forget Calvin Pickard, arguably the best bang for your buck player in the NHL. That's how good this guy is playing. So they've got it there. To bring in John Gibson, he may be a slight upgrade, but we don't know. We're not sure. He's playing better this year. He hasn't been great the last number of years. This is the guy. I believe there are other areas around the Oilers that I would upgrade or look to solidify well before the net number. So Skinner and Pickard are my guys.
Okay, so following up what you just said, what are the other areas that you'd like to shore up a little bit, Jason, on this team as we head into the deadline?
Well, John Klingberg's a massive question mark for this group. He came back from the injury, hadn't played in a long time, and then he's trying to find his game quickly because the trade deadline isn't that far away. So Oilers have to figure out, is he the solution in the second pairing beside Darnell Nurse? Yes or no? And they got to figure that out. Now, if he isn't, you probably have to go out and find someone to do it. And you've added to your depth with Klingberg. That's fantastic. But they need someone there that really fits well beside Darnell. And I think Klingberg, if healthy, could be that guy. But if he's not the guy, you have to solve it. Now, let's assume that Klingberg is the guy they decide. Well, now you have assets and a lot of cap space to add other pieces up front. Is it a winger for Draisaitl? Someone that can really, maybe score a little more frequently. Is it a big fourth line center? Or a fourth line center like Jake Evans out of Montreal? So to me, it's all around Klingberg. And this decision's coming up quickly. Unfortunately for Klingberg, not only did he not play for a long time, he came back, played a few games, and then you have a 2-week break.
Right.
So, he's the only guy in the league saying, we just keep playing, keep practicing. I don't want to lose any groove I'm trying to get going here.
What's everyone saying also very quickly about the Evander Kane situation right now, Struddy? What are they expecting? What do they expect from him when he returns?
So he's a guy that drags people into the fight on both teams, and he's also a very physical player. And the Oilers right now, and I don't think they've got the governor on their hitting. I believe they're not hitting as much as they can, and that starts right with Connor and Leon. And I'm not saying they should or shouldn't hit, but it's a long year, so I think they're pacing themselves with that. But when Kane comes in, I think that he's a guy that brings it. The question is, will he be ready? We're getting near March here, and then you have kind of 6 weeks before the playoffs start. So, is he skating yet or not? They've been pretty secretive. I want to believe that he'll at least be back for the playoffs, and then hopefully over 4 rounds, he can find his groove because he brings a big element they need. A guy that can score maybe on your second or third line, but a guy that brings it every night and annoys every player on the other team.
Finally, I mentioned that you co-host a very popular podcast with our friend Ryan Rishaug, the Got Your Back podcast. And Rishaug got to Boston for TSN just on Tuesday. It's been a couple of nightmare travel days for him after the storm hit Eastern Canada. My question for you, Jason, is how insufferable has it been to listen to Shoggy talk about his travel delays?
He doesn't deal with adversity well, right? Paper cuts, a sore back, or a clink in his neck after, a bad sleep. He doesn't give it up very well. And, this is a guy who chose to put a golf simulator in his garage, and he parks his cars outside and wonders why his wife is upset. I'm like, that's a really bad decision. So, yeah, adversity and Shogger are not two things that you want to see together.
No, you definitely don't. But he did make it to Boston, so we're happy for that. Hopefully he's slumbering in his Boston hotel room now. Oilers back in action Saturday against the Flyers. Great to see you, buddy. Always fun to chat with you, and hopefully we can catch up with you before the end of the season.
Yeah, I got to go and polish my silver medal from the Spangler Cup. So please include that in my next intro.
Will do, buddy.